Welcome to TSB Universe. You are now in the sound barrier. I'm your host, Zeke. We have a special guest today, Lissa Blair.
Hey everybody.
Awesome. Lissa just dropped her album a couple of months ago, Artificial, and she's going to talk to you guys today about her album, and what's been going on. How you doing today, Lissa?
I'm doing great. Just staying quarantined.
Awesome, right? And
Yep.
quarantine, so I can't move around as much. Neither can she, but we're definitely gonna get this out to you guys. So let's start off with music. What
hmm
what started you in music?
I actually started singing when I was like a toddler. Of course it wasn't like anything extravagant at that age, but I was probably about 3 and my next door neighbor had a like legit professional studio in his house. And I was really close with them, so I went over there a lot and he actually let me record once in there and like ever since then it was like a thing. I was like I'm going to grow up to be a singer, and I kind of went from there. Growing up I did some competitions, performed at graduations, and like I even sang at a funeral, and sang for um, the Silverhawks game. Sang in front of them.
Ah,
So yeah, there was quite a few people at that. Opened up for Shauna, and just did a lot of competitions and stuff even through my church. Like I performed, I was up on stage at church and stuff too, but I also performed for our churches. They have like these little competitions and retreats that they do, and we used to have it at Olivet University, and we used to do a bunch of competitions there for singing, and I ended up getting like first and second place. I think every year I was getting first or second. So I mean, a lot of competitions, throughout growing up. Um, I always love karaoke, of course, too, because that's where you can be a little more laid back.
yeah,
um, so
it's
yeah, I
awesome.
mean, just throughout childhood, just did a whole bunch of singing and performances, and I even did a little bit of acting. I was in skits for a bit. When I was in it was middle school or high school. I can't remember which.
No, that's
So.
pretty awesome. So,
hmm
where you from, Lissa?
I am, well, I've moved around quite a bit, but all in the same kind of area mostly. I was born like in grew up in like the Mishawaka area. Moved to Elkhart for a little bit with my family when I was younger, and then moved back to Mishawaka as an adult. But also when I was younger, I lived in Canada and the Dominican Republic for a period of time. So it was like probably about a year and a half, 2 years that I lived there. Um, in the Dominican, I lived there longer. The In Canada, I was only there for maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that. Um, and
That's pretty
then
interesting.
like right now, I'm in the Mishawaka area.
Yeah, that's pretty. I had a brother. He really liked going to Canada.
Canada was awesome. It's beautiful. It's so pretty, and like just learning how to live off of um the like nature, like living off nature, learning how to make your own shelter, and hiking and learning, like we had to drink water, like when we would drink water we had to put bleach in the water to kill all the bacteria. So like we
Wow.
learned how to really live off of what we had available for us, not just man-made stuff.
Right. That's a that's amazing. I didn't know it was like that in Canada. But
I mean, just it's not like that everywhere, just where we were living. We were in a rural part of Canada.
oh, okay, I get that. I've sent like UPS packages to Canada, and those rural areas can kind of get expensive. So I get
Yeah.
what you're saying when you say rural.
Yeah, like I remember they were telling us, they were warning us, they're like, don't anybody get hurt because it'll be a while till we can get you anywhere.
So you said you were in you were saying in church. So you're more of a R&B slash singer kind of singer?
Yeah, I would say R&B. I mean, I can pretty much touch any bass, any genre, and I have sang every genre for the most part. I even sang country, gospel, R&B, soul, neo soul, hip
Mhm.
hop, even trap pop. I've done that too. So yeah, a little bit of everything. And I rap sometimes, but I don't call myself a rapper. I'm a singer. I just do rap for fun sometimes.
Right, right. Yeah, just extracurricular added on.
Yeah, just to show versatility and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. So, what other um, type of gigs have you had other than let's say singing? Like you said, you act, you did some skits. Any other type of employment you've done?
Yeah. So I actually, when I started, I can't even remember if this was before I started recording. Because when I started recording, I was probably around 22 or something
Mhm.
like that. Maybe 23 at the latest. But I actually got asked by, I don't know if you remember Pure Star Movement,
Mm, maybe.
and there, a few of them have now created a band called Smash Kings.
Right. Okay. Heard
But
that.
anyways, Pure Star Movement was they were a pretty popular Christian rock band um years back, and they had asked me to be in their music video, so I did. That was the first time I had acted in a music video before, so I was in that music video. That was pretty fun. And then I opened up for Shauna. And then just numerous shows just in general, like locally and not locally. I even performed down in Nashville. Got asked to come back down there and perform, so I performed down there. Got a little following down there too. I love my Nashville people. Um, and then actually, back in the day, I used to do a lot of promotions and host events and parties. So like basically a lot of those parties ended up being at like Chicago's Bar and Grill or Blue Jeans, or there was a lot of spots around here that we used to do that. And then we would have like a showcase, that type of thing too. So that was
Right.
pretty fun as well. Um, and then as of now, like last year, I was working on my EP, and it took a whole year to make. I'm a perfectionist. I'm my own worst critic, so it just took longer for me because I just wanted it to be right. And so, I just focused on that, and I told myself last year, I said, I'm just gonna kind of cool it with the performances last year and just focus on getting that done, because performances kind of are distracting sometimes. As females, we got to get our hair done, this, that, we got to figure out our outfits, a whole bunch of stuff. So I wanted to make sure I focused on getting that done first. And then so now when I was about to get ready to start performing again, we got this virus thing going on. So, as soon as they start opening stuff up again, I already have a plan to just full force, performing everything, trying to get out in Chicago. Right now, working with Do or Die. Me and Bilo from Do or Die got a single out from my original song, Intrigued. He remixed that. So we got a video out of that right now that just released a few days ago. So yeah, just going
Awesome.
probably gonna be going back and forth out there this
How is it
summer.
working with Bilo?
What was that?
How is it working with Bilo?
It's really dope. Like he honestly, like, he not only has helped me, but I see him helping others as well, like people who are just getting into the game. Like, he spits a lot of game, like tells us, it's crazy because music out there is different than here. And I don't just mean that like on a local aspect, like here locally, okay, but like dealing with them on that like level, on that different level, like getting into, VIP and stuff like that, like, but just seeing how they work is different than what I've seen, just even locally. There's a different mindset that goes into it. And also just the business aspect is so different. And he's teaching me the business aspect of things, and Like, I respect that because I never really had anybody to show me. I had some people show me some bits and pieces of the business, but nobody that's really been a legend telling me it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, that's definitely helped a lot. He said he's gonna um, help me get some shows out there and stuff once this virus stuff is gone. And, so I'm looking forward to that. Definitely.
That's awesome. So, um, what what uh what is this last album? Uh, what are you saying through the this last album, CP Artificial?
Yeah, so Artificial, with it being a year long, I kind of just put all my feelings in different times and moments into each song. So, obviously Intrigued, that was my very first song that I recorded. And when it came to this EP, it was the first song, and it was the first song I released because I released only two songs from the EP before the EP dropped. I released Intrigued, which came with the video, the original video to Intrigued.
Right.
Um, and then that was like about a year ago. And then I also released me and Reminisce X. We have a song called Slow. We released that single just a couple months after we released Intrigue last year. Um, so we released that. Slow, we kind of wanted Slow to be um, we wanted it to be one of those songs where it's about it's got sexual content, but it's like makes you curious instead of being like it all out there like that. So that's why we, made the song the way it was. If you listen to the words, it's like about taking it slow, but it's kind of teasing a little bit too. So it makes it kind of a fun song, and it's a party song too. So you can play it in the club or anything. Right now, that one's playing on the radio locally here. So definitely shout out to Gino J, the Godfather, for that. Um,
Right.
yeah, definitely, definitely. He's a big influence around here, and definitely appreciate him. Intrigued, that song. Just I wanted a real sexy song, but without like getting too vulgar, if that makes sense. So I kind of like put a twist to it. So I made it like a sexy song that was more like made you intrigued about it. You know what I mean? Instead of it being all out there.
Yeah.
So that's what those two songs were about. Um, and then just going out throughout the album, um, it was about love and pain and just picking yourself back up. I know my last song in the album is called "Rub It In." That excuse me, that song was actually um, that was based on like a recent relationship I had. And so that song kind of is a little bit, it's got some sarcasm in it, a little bit sassy. So that song was a little different, but everybody loves that song. It's kind of it's upbeat, but slow at the same time.
Right.
So it's one of those songs you can dance to. We really want to get an actual dance for that song and make a video for it. Just looking for some adult dancers for that. We do have the Bad Entertainment dance team that had created a dance for that for our TV performance because we just performed on WSBT or wait WNIT. I'm sorry. We performed on there a couple months ago, or it was about a month and a half ago, and they're supposed to be releasing that pretty soon too. We do have that already on the Bad Entertainment channel on YouTube. So it is released on there. It hasn't been aired on TV quite yet, but it will be.
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah,
sure I
so
seen that video, I think.
yeah, yeah. And we got the
Yeah.
dancers in the background. We just had two dancers for that one. I did Intrigued and Rub It In. And then you'll see in my first music video of Intrigued, you'll see the Bad Entertainment dance team as well. They were in the background they did the remix that DJ Debbie Cakes did in the middle of the video. So that was kind of cool. I always like putting on for the kids. Some of them ain't kids no more. Some of them are like 18, but to me, they still the kids. You know what I mean? So I love
Right.
putting on for the kids, showing love to them, giving them that opportunity, and just love vibing with them.
So let's go back a little bit before this album and maybe a journey through your music. Um, yeah, just a journey through your albums that you've done, maybe released, working up to where you're at now.
Okay. Um, well, when I started recording, um, I believe if I can remember back, because my memory is terrible, but I believe my first time recording was with Jay Lunatic. I don't know if you heard of him before. He was with 574 and all them, like King
Right.
Rob and all them. Yeah. Um, I worked with Jay Lunatic for a minute. He kind of like showed me what I needed to do to get into recording and everything like that. So I definitely respect him. Like he showed me so much. And me and Jay Lunatic actually had a hit that we never officially released. Like we showed people, but we never released it because back then I didn't know how to promote. I didn't know what I was doing when it came to that. I was just beginning. So we made this song called Hotter, and I want to redo it someday. Like it was actually a pretty dope song. But so yeah, started off there. We actually did a couple songs. I don't remember what the other one was. But yeah, I worked with him, and then actually when I was in, I think we went to Club Twister one time, and we were in VIP with um DJ Drama. Jalen Tick introduced him to me and stuff, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Um, yeah, it was. And then, like I said, I opened up for Shauna at Chicago's Bar and Grill. And then I worked with people like I know all y'all know Javon. He got a song with Joyner Lucas and all that, so I know y'all know him. I did a
Mm.
song with him. Um, we released that probably like damn near 8 or 9 years ago. It was forever ago.
All right.
Um, Me and him are definitely talking about doing more music together. So keep an eye out for that. And then I did obviously did that album with College Boy. He did all the beats for it. Ray, who used to be in Pure Star Movement,
Mm-hmm.
he recorded, mixed, and mastered all of that album. And then um, and actually, College Boy, there were some songs in there that he actually helped me write as well. Because that's when that was my first project. I want to make sure it was right and everything. So he helped me with that as well. And then man, I've got collabs with quite a few people. I just can't remember everybody, but
Right.
obviously I got that collab with Reminisce X.
I remember seeing your name at like different places, like you know, you'd
Yeah,
be
back when I was Naya.
yeah showing up at like all these shows. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I used to do hella shows back in the day. That's where I'm trying to get now that I have this second project, a new project out. That's how I want it to be again. Once everything's back to normal, I want to get
right.
it back to that spot cuz yeah, it was definitely like we had fever packed out. Like when I threw my album release party,
Mm-hmm.
man, we had that so packed out. It was fun. Like it was so much fun. It was like a real life concert. Like the whole time, we even had a halftime in between in the middle of my performance, and changed outfits and all kinds of stuff. It was really cool. It was dope. A lot of people showed up. He had like VIP and everything. Yeah, it was pretty dope. Yeah, and then speaking of Naya, that was my old name. So that was my old stage name. That was the first one. It was actually before that. People just called me Missy or Missy in the Booth because that was my Facebook name. But I didn't really have a stage name. That was just my name. But then everyone's like, you should get a stage name because Missy's already taken. There's Missy Elliott already. So I was
Right.
like, okay, well, I don't know what to pick. So I just picked Naya and went with that. So I thought it was kind of catchy with using capital letters NYA. Just by looking at it, it was kind of catchy. So I guess that's why I chose it. But after a while, back in the day, I used to do a lot of, I did like a different style music back then. So basically, when I took this 3.5 year break from music, um, which, I was going through some things. So that's basically why I went through that break. But when I came back into music, I realized I could never have a break again because music is my life. When I came back into it, I'm like, I don't even want to use the name Naya anymore because my mindset had changed. Like, I was a different, you know, everything about, I felt like my style was different than it used to be, all that. So, I wanted something more authentic and real for my name. And that's why I picked Lissa Blair, because my real name is Melissa. Melissa is my first name and Blair is my middle name. So
Right.
I just went with Lissa Blair. I'm like, that's authentic, it's classy, like it's sketchy. So that's why I kind of went with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about where music is right now compared to, 10 years ago?
Man, when you ask anybody over 30, it's going to be something.
Right.
Because nowadays, I feel like hip hop, it's like, to me, it feels like a whining type of a sound to me. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. Like, that's what people think is popular now. And it's like, I don't mind that sometimes. It's just, I can't hear it all the time. Um, I'm more of an old school hip hop type person. Um,
Right.
I used to listen to Aaliyah and Jay-Z, all, what I mean? Like all the old school, and, Tupac, Biggie, all of them.
Do you feel
I'm
like
just,
you feel like
what
what's
was that?
popular is only popular because it's an age group popularity type thing?
I agree with that because I feel like, and I'm not downing any age group. I just feel like as time goes by, music changes, and that's only because people are trying to be different. And I
Right.
can't fault them for that because, that first person who came up with the winding sound, hell yeah, you know what I mean? They're dope because they're the first people that came out with that. But then when you have everybody trying to do it, then it all just sounds the same. So I
Right.
mean, I definitely like that first person who came up with that. Like, kudos to them because that was a whole new sound. But when you just have the same sound all the time, then it's not unique anymore. So that's why I like about old school hip hop, because I felt like there was more uniqueness to it. Everybody kind of had their own sound. Now, obviously, as time goes, you only have so many avenues to go through before things start getting repetitive again. So I kind of see why it's like that these days. But
Well,
I
yeah,
definitely miss that old school hip hop.
but even with the old school hip hop I mean, you still have those that were making old school hip hop then still making that music now, and it's
Right.
still relevant, because
Exactly.
what they're doing is taking their creativity and changing it, but it's still their
And
music,
see, I
still the
love
same.
that. I love when you hear people like, I mean, I know Chris Brown ain't super old school, but for instance, Chris Brown, he had one type of sound when he started out, but he changed with times. But the thing with Chris Brown is he knew how to change with the times. He knew how to be creative and unique and keep his own um like his own style. He knew how to keep his
Right.
style but to change with the times. Does that make sense?
Yes,
And
definitely.
like that type of artist is the type of artist that I love. Like I love when they can still keep part of them and part of their style into it, but they just kind of like, move with the times with it when it comes to the writing style. Even the way harmonies are and melodies are a lot different than they used to be.
Yes.
So
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you get that difference from someone like Chris Brown, who pretty much grew up in the music. So I mean, he spent his whole life changing with the music. Every,
right.
every time it changed, he adapted with it, but still staying himself. So,
Exactly.
and I mean, you have to do things like that to stay relevant because you have
Right.
artists, say for instance, Drake, who's a rapper and a singer.
Mhm.
And, if you're not doing you can't do both because you're not
Right.
him, but you still have to stay, like I said, relevant. You still have to
Ye-
be effective with what you do. So,
right. Yeah.
it's rough out there, but yeah,
And
people like you
it's
do it
crazy
every
because
day.
the competition is different than it used to be. Like when I first got into music, um and I'm gonna say this first. Competition to me is not a negative thing at all. So like I have friends that technically, if you look at it, we other people might think we in competition just because we're singers. We're all singers, but to me, I don't see that. I see us all growing together. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like when you speak on like the actual competition, like when you look at it as in general, um, back when I first started recording, um, like probably like 10 years ago or so, there really wasn't a whole lot of singers around. There was some rappers. There wasn't, but nobody was really taking anything serious when it came to local. There was a few, but it wasn't really many. And there wasn't really many singers to really have to compete against, I guess you should say. But like I said, I don't really compete. But nowadays, like shoot, after I had that 3.5 year break from music, I came back into it and I was like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of singers and people are sitting here doing big collabs and all kinds of stuff. I was like, dang, I need to make sure I get on my shit. I gotta be on my A game, when I come back. So
All right.
so that's why, I was like, I gotta do an EP. I have to. I knew I had to because, just dropping some singles. I mean, of course, singles are good. And I knew I didn't want to do a full album because nobody really does that anymore. Because I don't like fillers. I'm not a filler type person. I really don't like fillers and albums and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? What's perfect is do an EP and make the whole EP just, some hitters. So
All right.
um, that way,
Awesome.
any of them could be on the radio, and I made it to where anybody could listen to it. So there's no parental advisory. It's not explicit. That whole EP, you could hand it to your grandma or your 11-year-old child. You know what I mean? And they could listen to it, and when it would be fine. So I kind of wanted to expand my audience with that by doing that. And that's something I learned over the years as well, because when I was younger, I used to sing songs and have, there was some cussing in it or vulgarity. And I was like, that's cool for a certain crowd, but then you're limiting your crowd with that. So I just tried to do something different this time.
Right. Yeah. No. The is. I mean, it's awesome. EP. I've played several songs. You know,
Thank you.
just played it. And I keep it on the page. So,
That's what's
um,
up. Thank you.
definitely. You're welcome. Let's see here. Question: Who who inspires you? Who did inspire you, or who inspires you now? As far as like giving you that I want to create like that person. I want to be creative like that person, or leave an imprint like that person on music.
Um, I would say growing up, my mom listened to a lot of Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston.
Hmm.
So for me, and then also I listened to Michael Jackson growing up as well, like heavy. So like it's hard to pick just one, but I would say those three really influenced me a lot. And what's sad to me is I wanted to see all three in concert, and two of them I'll never see in concert. That's what's so sad to me. Um, and so that was those were pretty hard days for me when they passed, because like I said, they were pretty big influence on my music career and me being the singer I am today. And it actually it's crazy because when I was younger, I used to try to sound like them, like with my voice, but over time, like especially over the last year or two, I've really found my own voice instead of trying to copy someone else's. And like I think I like singing like that better. Like it feels like me, I feel more free sounding that way. So like they were the base of my creativity, but then I took that and made my own creativity out of it.
Well, I've listened to several uh, like different rappers like J. Cole and
Mhm.
what was his name? Kendrick Lamar, and
Mhm.
other rappers, and they're like, this was like who I was like or rapping like
Mhm.
till I found my own style. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great formula to have.
Yeah. Brandy was another one that I also listened to growing up too. I just And she really inspired me when it came to harmonies. Like she, because of her, I feel like because of her, I learned how to harmonize, because I used to practice her songs over and over. And mind you, I wouldn't just sing the melody. Like I was sitting there trying to figure out every harmony she did and then just sing through it like that. So, that's why I really feel like that's kind of where the basis of where my harmonies came from. I mean, anybody can sing harmony, so I could have learned it out the blue, but that's where it originated for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Couldn't said it better than that.
Hmm.
Um, so we do have this delay, you want to call it. I mean, um, before I actually get into that, what what do you want? Do you feel you want to leave, like as far as your blueprint? What do you want?
Um, to be honest, it's it's not even, music isn't even like when I do interviews or when I perform or when I release an album or this or that. Obviously, we have to promote our own stuff, and it seems like we're being big headed just off of because we're constantly pushing our own stuff. But my thing is I want to help others. So, like, young singers, or I'm hoping that they'll see maybe my growth in over the years, because I've definitely, my writing style is way different now than it used to be. But I'm just hoping that it'll leave an imprint on younger singers, to be able to have that motivation, because it's so hard to keep going and keep going in music. I'm not gonna lie. There was so many times like I was just like, man, this is hard, and there's sometimes you just don't get the love that you expect out of a song that you drop or this or that. And it makes you want to feel like you want to quit. But right when you feel like you want to quit, you got to keep going. And I want to be that inspiration for, the younger generation. Like, don't quit. Don't quit when something doesn't go your way, or when, somebody, maybe your close friends don't even like your own song or something. That's when you just make a better song, just keep going, you don't quit. So I'm just hoping that, like, the younger generation, maybe not even just the younger generation, but anybody who maybe struggles with staying motivated in music, that they can see that, man, she took a 3.5 year break, came back hard, and she's still going, and she says she's not going to quit music. Because I don't see me quitting music ever. Even when I'm like 80, I'm probably going to be in like a granny choir or something, you know what I mean? So I
Right.
mean, it's just going to change with the time. So i may not I may not do what I'm doing in music right now. In 3 years, I may be a writer instead and just solely be doing that. Or I might be doing, I mean, I have a 5 year plan, I have a short term plan. We won't really go into that right now, but, um, you know, that's one thing I'm never going to do is quit music again. Like, that's something that was a great learning lesson for me. And I realized music is my first love. And whether I'm vocal coaching, or creating my own music, or even helping somebody else write, or in a choir or whatever, I'm always going to stay in music.
All right, that's awesome. So we're gonna do. We're gonna uh save some of this for our next interview, the second interview after the delay passes, because right now I believe what the president and several others said is we're at war with COVID right now. So hopefully we win it, we bang it out, and we can get things back to normal. We can get you out
Yeah.
here promoting, uh, performing, and we can work together. And because I'm definitely out here with TSB Universe trying to put things together for our kids out here, and help some of the people that need help out here, and bring a positive presence around. So I'm definitely
Right.
looking to work with some people out there on that. Let's see. Oh, the intro that faded in. You, uh, You want to say anything about that song? We're gonna play that
About
song
which one?
right after this. Flutter.
Oh yeah, Flutter. So Flutter is a song that well, before I go there, y'all can find me on pretty much any social media. Lissa Blair, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Twitter page, but I haven't been on it in forever. I'm on TikTok. You can find me really anywhere. You can download the EP Artificial on almost all digital website outlets. And I also have hard copies for sale for $10. So you can always hit me up for that. And then, so going into Flutter, so my engineer and who mixes my stuff is actually Corey Ronell, who features on this song. So y'all can see kind of how, we make a great team because he already knows, he sings himself, and so he records and mixes his stuff anyways, so he already knows kind of what that sound is supposed to be like. So it was great working with him because I barely even had to do anything or say anything to him like I would another engineer, like, hey, I like my voice to sound like this or this or this, or my EQ this way. He already knew. Like, I didn't really have to do much. um he's very knowledgeable in that area. So it was fun to actually have a song with him too, because I knew his voice was crazy. He used to be with A10 back in the day, and now actually he was the head singer of Smash Kings as well.
Right.
And then he retired from that, and he's doing his own solo thing now. So it's just great working with him. This song is crazy. A lot of people love it. It's a very it's a love song, but it's soft. It's like a soft, angelic type feel to it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it.
Well, we're gonna. I definitely enjoyed it. Uh, you can check out more for videos as well on YouTube. Uh, thank you, Lissa Blair, for coming to the Sound Barrier. I want to thank everybody
Mm-hmm.
else for listening to the Sound Barrier. Uh, you can check us out at TSB Universe on all the podcast platforms. It'll be Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, Spotify, and plenty more. We're on Twitter at TSB Pages, TSB Universe, um, TSB Universe on Facebook. Like us, share, and see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.